So you've spent decades dreaming about retirement, right? All that freedom, the travel, the time to finally do whatever you want. But here's the thing nobody really talks about. Those first 90 days can feel less like a dream and more like a pop quiz you didn't study for. There's a hidden shock to retirement that catches even the most prepared people by surprise. In fact, a lot of new retirees make a few common mistakes in these first 3 months that can accidentally mess with their financial future and their happiness. In this video, we're going to walk through the step-by-step blueprint to help you navigate this time, sidestep those pitfalls, and start building a retirement you'll actually love. We'll break it down into 3 parts: the first 30 days, the next 30, and the final 30. Each phase has its own unique challenge and a clear solution. By the end of this, you won't just be ready for retirement, you'll have a game plan to master it. Phase 1, days 1 through 30, the decompression and stabilization phase. The first month of retirement often comes with a weird challenge: the complete and total lack of structure. Think about it. Your whole adult life has been built around schedules, deadlines, and who you were at work. And now, that's all gone. That emptiness can make you feel uneasy, even a little antsy, and that leads to the biggest problem of this phase: the urge to make big, rash decisions just to feel productive again. A lot of retirees jump into selling their house, completely changing their investments, or committing to some huge new role. Honestly, that's a huge mistake. Your head isn't on straight in the first 30 days, and you're at risk of making permanent decisions based on a temporary feeling. So what's the solution? It's probably not what you think. The goal of the first month isn't to do everything, it's to just pause. Give yourself permission to decompress. For years, your brain has been running on a work schedule. It's time to rest and recover, guilt-free. Sleep in, read a book, see what your natural energy feels like when an alarm clock isn't bossing you around. This is a critical period of just noticing things. The #1 rule for this phase is to avoid any major irreversible decisions. Unless it's a real emergency, put a 90-day freeze on big moves like selling your home, buying that pricey RV, or giving away large sums of money. You need time for the dust to settle. And what you think you want right now might look very different in a few months. Instead of big changes, focus on 2 simple steps to get stable. First, get your new cash flow sorted out. For the first time, you have to create your own paycheck. You can work with a financial advisor to set up automatic regular transfers from your retirement accounts, like your 401k or IRA, straight into your checking account. This makes things predictable and helps you get a real feel for what it's like to live on your retirement income. Second, start building a super light daily structure. This isn't about recreating your old 9 to 5. It's about creating little anchors in your day that provide some stability. Maybe it's a morning walk, a set time for lunch, or reading for an hour in the afternoon. Even simple things, like making your bed every day, can give you a sense of order when everything else feels up in the air. This is your time to just settle in and handle the small stuff, like making sure all your paperwork from your old job is done. Look, battling boredom or feeling like you've lost your purpose is the toughest part for a lot of people. Just knowing that this is a normal part of the process is half the battle. The goal of month 1 is not to have it all figured out. It's to stabilize, observe, and give yourself the grace to just be retired. Phase 2, days 31 to 60, the experimentation and pressure testing phase. Okay, so you've had a month to decompress. Now a new feeling might be creeping in: restlessness. The thrill of freedom can start to fade, and that big question of what now gets a lot louder. You've rested, but you can't just rest forever. And you've got a financial plan on paper, but you have no clue if it actually works in the real world. This brings us to the main challenge of Phase 2, the gap between your retirement ideas and your retirement reality. The solution is to start a period of deliberate experimentation. This is your chance to pressure test every part of your new life, your budget, your schedule, your hobbies, without any long-term commitments. Think of yourself as a scientist in the lab of your own retirement. Let's start with your money. It's time for a real-world budget test. For the next 30 days, track every single dollar you spend. The goal here is to see how your actual spending lines up with the budget you planned before you retired. You might find new expenses you didn't see coming, or realize that your fun money budget is way too high or way too low. This is also when you need to pay attention to taxes. It's a shock for many retirees, but taxes don't just disappear. Withdrawals from traditional IRAs and 401ks count as taxable income, and you need to get a handle on how that's going to affect you. This is also the critical window to lock in your health care. If you're heading into Medicare, make sure you've signed up for Part B to avoid paying penalties for the rest of your life. You'll also need to pick a supplemental plan to cover the things Medicare doesn't. Don't put this off. One surprise medical bill can be one of the biggest threats to a solid retirement plan. Now for the fun part of experimenting, your time. Instead of committing to joining a board or a year-long volunteer gig, just dip your toe in. Try things in small, bite-sized pieces. Volunteer for just one afternoon. Take a one-off community art class. Join a hiking group for a single hike. Go to that book club meeting you were curious about. The key is to just gather data. How did that activity make you feel? Did it give you energy or drain you? Did you like the social part, or do you prefer doing things on your own? You're essentially trying on different versions of your future to see what fits. This is also a great time to experiment with different daily routines. Try a week where you have one planned thing each day, and then another week where your schedule is totally open. See how each one affects your mood and your sense of purpose. By the end of these 30 days, you'll have priceless, real-world data on your budget, your interests, and your ideal schedule. You're no longer guessing, you're operating on experience. Phase 3, days 61 to 90. The optimization and intentional design phase. All right, you've decompressed and you've experimented. Now you have a bunch of data on what you like, what you don't, and what your life actually costs. This leads to the final challenge of the first 90 days. How do you go from this temporary try-everything mode into a sustainable, fulfilling lifestyle? Because you can't just keep experimenting forever. The solution in Phase 3 is to shift into intentional design. This is where you take everything you learned and start building the first draft of your ideal retirement. It's time to fine-tune your finances and your schedule based on that real-world feedback. First, let's look at your routine. Using what you learned from your experiments, you can now build what I call an ideal weekly rhythm. This isn't a strict schedule, but more of a flexible framework that makes sure you're carving out time for what matters to you. A great way to do this is with themed days. For example, Mindful Monday for reading and planning, Active Tuesday for a workout or a long walk, Connection Wednesday for lunch with friends, Errand Thursday, and Fun Friday for a hobby you love. This builds in both structure and variety without feeling like a job. Now you can make your first real commitments based on what truly energized you in your trial phase. Next, it's time to optimize your financial plan. Take your real-world spending data from last month and have a meeting with your financial advisor. Now you can tweak your withdrawal strategy with confidence. Is that classic 4% rule really realistic for you, or do you need to adjust it? Your personal data is gold here, especially since experts are always debating the best starting percentage. Are you pulling money from the right accounts to be smart about taxes? This is also the time to make sure your investments are set up correctly for this new stage of life. You'll likely want to be a bit more conservative to protect your money, but you still need growth to beat inflation over the long haul. Don't make the mistake of moving everything into cash. Finally, this phase is the perfect time to handle some crucial admin tasks that are easy to forget. The big one is updating your estate plan. Retirement is a major life event, so your legal documents need to reflect your new reality. Check the beneficiaries on all your accounts, your IRA, 401k, life insurance, everything. Make sure your will, trust, and powers of attorney are all up to date and say exactly what you want them to. Skipping this is one of the most common and damaging mistakes a retiree can make. By the end of these 90 days, you will have moved from a place of uncertainty to a place of intention. You'll have a financial plan that's been battle-tested, a weekly rhythm that brings you joy, and the peace of mind that comes from having your house in order.